All right. All set? Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here. It's good to see so many familiar faces in the audience. The side events over here will take us through Abu Dhabi's water journey with sustainability. I would like to welcome my esteemed panel, Dr. Shamma Al Malik. She's the Strategy Development Director at the Department of Energy, as well as my friend Abu Muhammad Abdullah Rumaithi, Director of Environment, Regulation, and Climate at the Environment Agency of Abu Dhabi. Myself, my name is Hazim Al Qawasma. I am the Senior Environmental Advisor at the Secretary General Office and Environment Agency of Abu Dhabi. Welcome. Dr. Shamma, she has a 15 years experience in the sector. She has started her journey in the National Energy and Water Research Center. She has managed and initiated a number of pioneering projects like the RO pilot plan, the utilization of treated water in the Emirate, as well as the regulation for drinking and non-drinking water with tankers. She is a chemical engineer by bachelor and master's degree, and she capped it with a PhD in membrane fabrication and characterizations from the UK. She has 15 internationally peer-reviewed and published journals. Abdullah, he has a unique background in management and policy development, and he is leading the transition of Abu Dhabi's economy into a more of a green and environmental friendly. Uh, he he leads the development of the environment policies and regulation in the Emirate and promotion of Abu Dhabi on the regional as well as the international levels. Let's start the session with a common question for both, and this is a question that we all know about water. Water is very, very scarce in the world, and especially in our region. What has the government done to combat this challenge? I'll start with Abdullah, and then we'll go over to Doctora. Fadal, Abdullah.
Thank you for the question. I think globally this is something that if you are aware of our geographic location as Middle East, we do have a challenge when it comes to limited fresh water resource. So Abu Dhabi government actually they have worked on an integrated water resource management plan, focuses on 4 pillars. So the first pillar is the regulations, where we set the legal framework, and then we move to supply management when it comes to water. Supply management using different alternatives, such as desalinated water, as well as treated wastewater. This is something that we always focus on and invest on as a government, especially for irrigation. As well, we focusing on the deep aquifer system by not only using the previous aquifers, and we are trying to also invest and focus on the current aquifer system. I don't know if you heard about the hydrological map, but the hydrological map, it's a national project, focuses and started in Abu Dhabi, and this is something that's also focused on to understand the supply management when it comes to water. The second pillar is that the third pillar is the demand management, focusing on using innovation and technology, and how both innovation and technology can assist and help us when it comes to water management. We adopted many of the tools. I would give you an example of the crop calculation, where we can understand the crop, each crop, how much it will consume of water, how much water can be abstracted from the farm for, let's say, for the palm, There is a quota for the palm. There is a quota for the tomato. So it actually focuses on calculating and helping also the farmers to understand their consumptions. Also, I would like to highlight that in Abu Dhabi government, we also adopted a new tools when it comes to meter flow. So setting a meter flow metering to measure the obstruction rate from each, I would say, the groundwater wells, and to check on the groundwater level as well. The last point and the last pillar that I would also like to share with you here, as you can see on your back, there is the map of UAE. So basically, if you see the location of the farms are located in three main cities, Al Ain and Abu Dhabi, and the western region, Al Dhafra, and we do have many farms. The main point is that we do have 1,200 points to monitor the obstruction, to understand the water level, the quality of water we use, whether it's a brackish water or the groundwater.
Yeah.
So this is the four pillar that I would like to share with you when it comes to this question.
Excellent. Would you
Thank
like
you.
to take that one from the Department of Energy point of view, please? Thank
Good
you.
afternoon. It's my pleasure to be today with you in this session, Abdullah. So as you know, we have in Abu Dhabi three main sources for water. The first one, which represents 60%, which is groundwater.
There you go.
And the second one, which is 30%, which is desalinated water. And the last one is recycled water, which represents 10% from all the sources. And today, Abu Dhabi is one of the largest producers of the desalinated water in the world. We have 9 desalination plants with capacity of 960 million imperial gallon per day. And this amount of water transported by transmission network, 3.5 thousand kilometer, and distribution network, 13,000 kilometer. In the sector, we have many initiatives to optimize the production of water and consumption as well. So in 2019, DOE launched the demand side management strategy. And this demand side, this strategy has potential to reduce the energy consumption by 32% by 2030, and water consumption to be reduced by 22%. And it is worth to mention that in this strategy we have many programs. It is more than 9 programs. For example, building retrofit program, rebate and awareness, efficiency for water usage as well. And if I elaborate more about efficiency in water usage, we can talk about the mega project that government of Abu Dhabi started and recently completed, which is related to transferring the treated water, recycled water from Abu Dhabi to area close to Al Ain, and Abu Dhabi to Dubai, with capacity 61 and 40 million meter cube per year, which is huge. And this tool, as a direction, as a project, will help us to conserve the valuable water, which is desalinated water and ground water. Another dimension, you can talk as well about the program that already in the sector, especially with the transmission companies and distribution companies, which is related to control the losses in the network. We have solid programs in the sector to reduce the losses of water from the network to be less than 10% by 2030.
Yes, this is excellent, because I think that they're aiming to be one of the lowest in the world as far as water losses.
Yeah.
I would like to sincerely commend the integrated work, that we're not only looking at the supply and meeting the supply and increasingly as has been in the previous, but now we're looking at the demand management, we're looking at the efficiency. So this gives you a holistic view on the water management, and this is very, very commendable. Now, I want to shift gears from the water to the sector itself, Doctora.
Yeah.
We know that the scientists have also agreed that the climate change is a man-made problem. And through the greenhouse gas emissions that we do in Abu Dhabi on a regular basis, and indeed on the UAE at large, always the power and the water sector comes as one of the main contributors to this greenhouse gases. Is there any plans, any programs that your department is taking into consideration for reducing these greenhouse gases going forward?
Yeah, thank you, Hazem, for this question. It's very good and very important to elaborate more about the sector efforts in this regard. So now in the sector, energy sector in Emirate of Abu Dhabi, we have already existing projects and initiatives, and already planned as well initiatives and projects to increase the clean energy contribution by utilization or by having clean energy from the solar and from the nuclear. And from this stage, before just a few days ago, Department of Energy, with collaboration with Environment Agency Abu Dhabi, announced the clean energy target for 2035, which is very important tool for the sector, for the climate change agenda for Emirate of Abu Dhabi, because it was decided that 60% of energy production electricity to be just 60% by 2035. So I think that this tool, which is very effective in energy sector for the environment, and with what we already have, like policies, like regulation framework, projects, strategies, all of this, and what will come as well in the future, help us to cut the emission from generation. So as per the figure I have it, that in 2022 the emission is 40 million ton per year, and we are expecting that number to be reduced to be 20 million ton. So all of these efforts, tools, projects, initiatives, and collaboration between entities sure will have more reduction in the climate change. If we go to other dimension, which is related to the generation scheme, we have a new direction now to separate the water production from energy production, and to make water production is independent and to make it decoupled. So we are moving to reverse osmosis technology, using the energy that will be generated from the nuclear, from the renewable energy, and this will have a lot of benefits, because this will help in cost, because it's cost very important, and the environmental impact will be helpful, because there is no emission if you are using reverse osmosis instead of the conventional thermal cogeneration plants, and sure the efficiency will be increased as well. So far we have in Abu Dhabi 4 plants using reverse osmosis technology, and this represents 24% of the water production or desalination, and we are expecting this to be increased to 64% by 2029. This includes a Tawila desalination plant, which is expected to be the largest desalination plant in the world, with capacity of 200 million imperial gallon per day.
This is great. This is great.
Yeah.
This is very, very promising. Thank you, Doctora, for
Inshallah.
this. Now, Abdullah, we all live in a world that we see that is nothing is certain. So this is like we heard about the wars, we heard about the conflicts, and we heard about, like for example, the pandemic that took place in 2020. We know in Abu Dhabi that there is a lack of fresh water reserve. In a case of an emergency, what has the government done to tackle this, God forbid, situation?
Thank you. I would say here, in Abu Dhabi government, we have a pioneer program. Most people are aware of UAE in Dhafra region. We've been glad, alhamdulillah, to have the best aquifer system, where we actually had the program where we set or use this aquifer, natural aquifer, and we use it as a strategic reserve to actually inject this aquifer system by the desalinated water. So we are proactive on this. So basically, we always have assessed our water. That's why we came up with this project. And this project will actually supply the gaps during any emergency in UAE. Having said that, this project is also considered to be one of the biggest projects globally to have a to inject desalinated water and a strategic aquifer for any emergency reason, which serve almost 7 million binary gallon per day. So this is something that we do have, alhamdulillah, and this is one of the plans.
It will last for 90 days just in case
Yes,
of emergencies,
it's
right?
90 days and plus.
Yeah, because I would think in an case of an emergency, the people would not consume as much water as they would in the regular days. So I'm thinking
Yes.
the 90 days is as the regular consumption. So in emergencies, God forbids, I think it's going to stretch a lot longer than that.
Indeed, and also what we always check here, as I've mentioned previously, we do have 1,200 monitoring points,
Yeah.
and one of the three main monitoring points are around this area to just assess, and all the data are collected there, and it will feed into our database where we actually look into these data and make sure that the water from a quality perspective and the quality is there. So yes, it will help.
Okay. I think from the point of view, again, as we said, the scarcity of the water and the integrated water resource management plan that has been developed for Abu Dhabi, we are valuing every little last drop of water. There is a project about the treated water and not be used and not to have any of the treated water reach the environment non-utilized or not maximized. Could you tell us the latest on this project, and when do we expect that it will be fully operational, please?
Sure. Actually, let me go back to what Dr. Sheikha just mentioned about the mega project. It's a
دكتورة شمة.
Dr. Shama.
تعود ما عليك.
Okay, so Dr. Shama, thank you. I think this is really important for us because we work hand by hand with the government entities. We count on the private sectors. Also, we reach into the farmers when it comes to public. So we don't work independently. So the main point here is that when it comes to any government strategy, we look into the main actors on the government side, as well academia are involved, especially on the research or any future plans that would actually set any new targets when it comes to water. Therefore, what we have in 2020, the 45% of the treated wastewater actually the total produced actually was used in irrigation purposes, and some of them are transferred to the land. However, now with the strategic project that we do have, we will cover almost 4,000 farms. So actually they will stop using desalinated water or fresh water, and they will start using the treated wastewater. And this is really important for us. That comes one of the pillars in the climate change side as well, to reduce the carbon emissions. It's to reduce as well the water consumptions in UAE. And this is, inshallah, could be a role model for other countries to use.
Excellent. So now they would replace the abstraction of groundwater with the much less saline, better quality treated wastewater.
Environmental friendly as well, and it could be used for agriculture, whether it's farms, and there is also a study where we look into the potential of using the treated wastewater on industrial sector as well. some of the industry, they consume too much of water, such as paper industry or any other industries.
Excellent,
Thank you.
excellent. I think because every drop matters, this is for sure. Just shifting gears now, Doctora, last Friday, the UAE has announced its pathways for the net zero by 2050. And we hear that there are so many players are playing to achieve that target. What is the role of policies and the strategies that DOE is putting to meet that target? And more specifically, how will it intertwine with the different policies and strategies that other departments are going to be taking to achieve that goal?
First of all, I would like to say congratulations for the Ministry of Climate Change team for this big announcement and for the big achievement actually, and with all the stakeholders as we are with them in this project, and I wish them the best luck in phase 2, inshallah.
Inshallah.
For DOE strategy already, which was developed and is already ensured that it's aligned and in line with overall UAE vision and UAE energy and water vision as well, and Abu Dhabi government economic and environment vision, and all the related strategies which aims to reduce the carbon emission and to increase the renewable energy contribution in the sector and in energy mix especially. So recently DOE issued many policies, regulation frameworks and strategies to support energy mix and the green economy. So for example, if I just give some example of the policies that we have recently, district cooling water usage policy, recycled water policy, and the clean energy certificate, we have it for Abu Dhabi, and as well we have EV policy so far, and demand side management strategy, which already I talked about it in the previous question. And currently we are working as well on more strategies to support this agenda and to support the energy transition. For example, which is very important, hydrogen policy and regulatory framework is ongoing with DOE, and energy market reform, and finally a captive generation policy. So if I take one or two examples of the policies, for example, if we are talking today about water, so recycled water policy, which issued just a few years ago, and the benefit or purpose of this policy is to increase or maximize the utilization of recycled water in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, to make it 100%. As me and Abdullah mentioned that we have a project, and we currently, the utilization of recycled water is around 70 to 73. What we are looking, the government will have already direct to make it 100%. And this policy will support this objective and will conserve and save the sources we have it so far, which is groundwater and desalinated water. Other policy, which is district cooling water policy as well. This policy is support the regulatory framework for district cooling, and this will provide the DC plant with techno-economic solution for that water that they will use it, and will give benefits for the environment as well. So all our policies, regulation, and strategies are already aligned with integrated water resources management in Emirate of Abu Dhabi, and UAE strategy security, water security 2036, and as well and more with GCC unified water strategy.
Yes.
We are aligned.
I think Dr. Shama did mention a good point. Usually if you look into the UAE from federal level, so we start from the water security strategy 2036, and then we cascade it into a local strategies. And this is the unique things about us, where we sometimes set more programs, initiatives in a local level that will actually have objectives to serve the desired outcome of the strategy or the long-term strategies. And usually our strategies, I would mention, as Dr. Shama said, we always work as a joint, in a joint efforts, like in a collaboration with other entities and government entities. So we will never set a target without consulting, without stakeholder engagement. Again, we always look into the alignment and the harmonizing initiative that will support the optimal goal of the national level as well. So this is something that I would like to highlight. Thank you for Dr. Rashid.
This is very clear. We can see this firsthand with the two entities, the Department of Energy and the Environment Agency of Abu Dhabi are very, very closely working together to lead this transformation and lead this climate work. At the end, I'd like to thank you for your insightful input, and we'll thank you, our guests, for being here. Thank you very much. A round of applause.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rashid.